All right, guys, so we're back again. I have more things to talk about. Um, I'm very irritated with the entire behavior of um, the modern woman as a whole. Don't misunderstand me when I say this. I'm not saying that women are evil or they're bad people or any of this shit. But what I'm saying is the the divergence in the general personality type and worldview of the Gen Z woman and the Gen Z man are completely fucking different. Completely and totally fucking different. So here's where the problems begin, right? The problems begin in being that, most young guys are generally conservative people, right? I'm not saying that we are um, alt right, but we are definitely right leaning in general. Personally, I think there are parts of both sides that are dumb. The left and the right have things they do that are dumb, but at the end of the day, if you sit in the middle, you get called a fence sitter, and they go, "Oh, well, you have no this, that, and the third." And it's like, well, you were like forced to pick one anymore. But to get to the point of this video, um, there's such this tension in relations between men and women in Gen Z because they are so. I wouldn't say we are vastly different, but it almost feels like we are antagonistic to each other at this point in time, because all the women effectively think that abortion is this an empowering thing at this point. Not that it is a necessary thing to have, and that it is unfortunate that they may see that they need to abort a baby. Um, there's this like devaluing of like the human race at a fundamental level, because I was gonna post this on one of my more public platforms where more people would see it and interact with it, but I feel like this is a very long-winded video, and we're gonna have a lot to talk about. So, um, to cut to the chase, roughly a third to a quarter of Gen Z has been aborted. Like the people that there should be, if you say four people, say three people personally, from Gen Z, there should be four essentially. There's about one person missing in every four in the population of Gen Z. We're missing a very large amount of people that should have been here if abortion didn't exist. And those could have been my best friends. Those could have been Some of those people could have been potential girlfriends for me, because now they don't exist. Now they don't exist. Those could have been, you know, people's brothers and sisters. Those could have been people's cousins. Those could have been people's. Like I said, there are people that were killed by abortion that could have been your spouse, right? Because you guys are about the same age. You should be anyway. You're all in Gen Z, so you're all going to be around the same age. But it's like there's that, and there's also data suggesting that half of all Gen Z pregnancies are, half of all Gen Z pregnancies end in abortion. Half, half of all of them. And Gen Z isn't. We're not like super young anymore, dude. Like we're approaching 20s and mid 20s. I don't know how young the youngest of Gen Z is. Maybe like 15. But that shouldn't be accounting for a whole lot, being that the cutoff is at 15. Still, regarding the Gen Z is like 15 to like 28 or 29 right now, and that shows you that we're going towards the wrong direction. And I don't want to date someone who's gonna abort my child. And like I said, there's so many reasons that go into why the average person is just not fucking dating anymore. it seems like there's such a high risk to low reward, especially if you're a religious person and if you're with people who are secular, dating secular people. It seems to be so much risk and no reward because, excuse me, you have to put yourself out there, one, and then you have to establish who you are. You have to be open and understanding all the time with your potential dating options and your dating endeavors. Furthermore, you also, if you're a Christian, you're not supposed to be having premarital sex, which is why this shit is so hard for a lot of the Christian men, is because we don't want to do premarital sex, but it is a strong desire. You know, um, there's a lot on the table at any one time regarding the whole dating dynamic. I mean, you know, and like I said, I've never shamed a guy for not dating, but for some reason, women, like I said, women are a lot of these women are fucking vindictive nowadays. And I don't want this video to come off as incelish or anything. I'm a guy, I'm a survivor at the end of the day. I'm just a guy who's living out of his house. He goes to work just to make money, and he comes home and he prepares dinner and takes care of his animals and make sure his father's okay. That's me. That's my life. I don't really care to date right now because I'm not going to date a woman that's not going to add to my life. Every time I've dated, they have seemingly only subtracted from my life. I don't know if it's just the women I've met. I've met two women and dated two women, um, but they always seem to be vindictive or like they pull the victim card like on the regular. Because my first girlfriend, we'll just go into a story, I guess, have nothing else to do. Um, we dated for a few months. We went on one date, and then about 2 weeks later, well, we were talking. We were in a talking stage for a while, and then we went on a date. And it was a double date with a fifth wheel. Um, and about a week and a half, 2 weeks later, we were broken up for whatever reason. Can't really. She said she wanted to leave me because she was going to another state soon, and she didn't want to be unfair to me. Um, but she was extremely afraid of me after we were done dating. Like I was never violent, or I never had any outbursts or any type of crashing out, as you might say. I never did that the whole time we were talking. And as soon as I was not dating her anymore, she was like afraid of me for some reason, and a reason that I can't explain. Like she requested to, because we worked at the same job, she requested to be put on hours that were not adjacent with mine, so that she would not have to work with me. Like I don't know what the fuck happened. Um, as well as when when a woman, you never see a woman break up or be broken up with or break up with a man, however you want to say it. You never see them break up and then talk to their friends about it, their girlfriends, you know what I mean? And say like, you know what, he was a really good guy, but we just didn't fit, and um, you know, we had our problems, but he's not a bad person, and I hope he really learned something from us being together because I learned a lot. That's not, women don't ever fucking do that. I've never heard a woman do that ever. They go, I hope that motherfucker dies. I hope that ugly ass dog ass bitch fucking dies. I hope he gets fucking cancer. Like I've literally heard this shit because the majority of my friends at work are women, and we went to rock climbing one time, and the new girl that was new to our group at the time, because it was me, the two sisters, and then the new girl. The new girl was talking about her ex-boyfriend for some fucking reason. Because women, that's the thing that's so funny to me, is women always talk about guys. Like fucking always. Like guys, I'm not gonna say we don't talk about women, but there's a lot more we talk about other than women. And women kinda just talk about boys a lot. The more you hang out with women, like in a platonic manner, the more you'll notice stuff like this. but she was talking about her ex-boyfriend, and she was like, I hope that ugly motherfucker gets fat and loses all his hair. And I was like, I have never said something about a woman like that. And even then, I had a really bad breakup because my ex-girlfriend was doing a lot of things I just couldn't deal with, and I was like, look, I have to leave. Like, I can't do this with you anymore. And then, we were done. I said we can still be friends and whatever. So that's another mistake. Don't ever tell a woman you can still be friends with her. But anyway, she went to her Snapchat, my ex-girlfriend, right after we broke up, and she posted a whole bunch of shit on social media, her Snapchat, I'm sorry, um about guys, about men. And a lot of it was about me, and it was derogatory towards me and what I did. Like, I knew what I wanted and she wasn't it, but I wanted to try. I gave her the benefit of the doubt, which I will never fucking do ever again, by the way. I gave her the benefit of the doubt regarding what was happening because she drank alcohol and I was not okay with that. And, I told her, look, I can't do this. And she said, can we just take a break so we can have time to think? And I said, okay, fine. Because I guess this is how fucking relationships work now. It's a situationship first and, a commitment second. Because you ever realize that most people just date because of the situation. But anyhow, um, fucking, she was posting all over her social media, and like, she had a Q&A or whatever, and it said, what kind of guys do you like? And because she was newly single, like she posted about it, I was reading this shit, which I shouldn't have been fucking doing, but it didn't really affect me anyhow. But it said, what kind of guys do you like? And it said, guys who know what they want, which women will never take the fucking blame for the problems in a relationship. Like, relationships are going to have problems, but if the problem is being caused by the woman, you will never hear that, yeah, okay, I fucked up. You'll never hear them say stuff like that. It just doesn't happen. I mean, I'm not going to say women dodge accountability like, they're playing dodgeball, but they don't really take accountability when they should, is what I've noticed. Like I said, now they also don't learn a lot of lessons, is what I've learned, through my friend dating her ex-boyfriend who cheated on her fucking twice. Goodness gracious! But I learned a lot of lessons from how these women operate, because this is not the first time I've seen women go back to their ex-boyfriend who fucking cheated on them. I'm not going to say this is a regular occurrence, but it seems more regular than guys getting cheated on and them going back to their ex-girlfriend. I just, you know what I mean? Like, the whole thing doesn't make any fucking sense. But that's why a lot of dudes aren't out here even. I'm not even trying to date. Unless a woman comes up to me and tells me she thinks I'm handsome and she'd like to get to know me and ask for my phone number, I'm not asking a woman out, bro. I just don't fucking care. I don't fucking care. If I see a woman online and she has social media, she's already not an option to me, bro. She's already not, because I'm not saying that, I need a ultra traditional woman who wears fucking sundresses everywhere. But at the end of the day, the thing is that if she is a modern woman, I'm not doing this shit. And I know I'm not the only one who thinks like this, because I've met other guys who also think like this. If she's going to subtract from my entire operation, I don't care, I don't care. I'm not going to fucking date her. And I mean, I know all I talk about anymore is fucking relationships. Maybe I have an idea for talking about film, like character design and production for characters, because I do think about this stuff quite a bit. But anyhow, it's just so fucking goofy to me, and like, it's all of the whole entirety of modern society, bars, is just mental gymnastics, bro. It's just fucking mental gymnastics. Like, no matter what you do, somebody is going to tell you you're doing it wrong. So just do what you feel convicted to do. As long as it's within the law, like, you're not like, oh, I'm just gonna murder. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, if you feel convicted, like, hey, maybe I should just focus on myself right now, just fucking do that. Just fucking do that, bro. Because everyone is gonna tell you, like, women are gonna tell you you're a loser because you don't date. I'm just gonna keep it raw as shit today, bro. I'm gonna keep it as raw as fucking possible in these videos. Women will tell you you're a fucking loser because you're not dating. Not everyone needs to be dating at all times. It's just very like, if you're a normal ass dude, you're an average looking dude like I am. You don't need to be. You're not gonna be dating all the time. You're just not. Okay. I haven't been on a date in 2 fucking years almost. And people will say, "Oh, that's so sad. I'm so sorry to hear that." Why are you sorry to hear that? You're sorry to hear that because you are socially programmed to believe that being single is sad. That's your problem. Just like how if you tell people like, "No, I'm celibate. I'm not going to have sex my entire life." They like, "Oh, that's so sad. That's so sad. He does that. Why does he do that?" I do what the fuck I want to do, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I do what God tells me to do. If God has told me it is not in my cards to be married, that's just true. There's nothing in the Bible also, because again, this is a Christian themed channel. There's nothing in the Bible that says either that all men are entitled to a woman, nor are all women entitled to a man. That doesn't say that. It doesn't say, okay, here's your mandatory entitlement to your wife or spouse. That's not a fucking thing. It doesn't exist. And people go like, oh, well, God will give me a wife. If it's God's plan to give you a wife. If it's not God's plan to give you a wife, you will not take one. That's how it works. Or if you take one, it will end in divorce. There you fucking go. That's how it works. And there's just this, I know I made a video yesterday, but there's just this level of like nastiness from the average women nowadays. Like everything is sexual. There's this level of like volatility to, like, if you talk to a lot of women like I do, because I work a very socialoid job. um if you talk to a lot of women, excuse me, you'll notice that a lot of them are extremely volatile and just unpleasant to be around. I've never ever had at my job, one time actually, excuse me, I've had one time had a coworker who was a male pop an attitude with me. I have women coworkers who pop an attitude with me every fucking day, bro. Like the venom comes out. That's what I call it. The poison that they try to feed into your psyche so you start questioning yourself. I've never had that come from a male acquaintance. Excuse me. Sorry, I was yawning. Never had that come from a male acquaintance or even a male coworker. I've never. It doesn't fucking happen. Do you know why? Because men are chill. I'm not gonna say men and women are divided. Definitely, they're divided as a class of people. Where I firmly believe that the guys who get the most girls nowadays are the ones who feed into everything the woman wants. Literally everything. I'm not making a joke. I'm not being goofy haha or anything, but there's literally, I see no reality where any dude who is getting a girlfriend is not a complete pushover. Like, I'm being so for real. Like, my one friend I used to talk to all the time, he just came back from work after medical leave. He's had a girlfriend for, I don't know, 5 months. And she is definitely wearing the pants in that relationship. Like, before, because we all work together at the same job. His girlfriend used to work there, too. Um, she was definitely wearing the pants in that relationship. Like, I'm being so for real. I'm not being funny. Um, and now I can tell they're still together because the guy in the relationship is a complete pushover sissy boy with no masculinity to his frame, and the woman is a fucking femdom basically, and he doesn't challenge her at all. He doesn't do anything outside of what she wants him to do. And he's basically in full submittance to this woman. That's the society we live in now, is where if you're a dude and you don't do that, you're not going to get a girlfriend. I'm being so for real. Like women, like I said in another video, I said women want you to put them first before every fucking thing else in reality. If you've dated, you know this. You fucking know this. I remember telling her that my ex-girlfriend that she was like third on my priority list. And they fucking hate that. They always hate that shit to no end because they want to be the center of attention. And what's so funny is women say, "Oh, all these guys are narcissists." I've never met a guy who is a narcissist. I've met several women who are narcissists, and they think that because women feed into each other's egos. You ever realize that? I've never met a woman who didn't have a big head. I'm being so for real. You know what I mean? Who didn't have a fucking giant ego, egomaniac. I've never met one. I've never met a woman who was over the age of 18 who was not an egomaniac. Guys, we don't really have a whole lot of ego. I think most men are pretty fucking humble. If they've actually worked a job where you had to put in work, they are humble. I feel like once a man develops himself, he becomes pretty damn humble. Because I'm not saying, "Oh, I'm so humble, I'm so humble." I don't care. You guys, a lot of you guys don't know me personally. Maybe 7 of my subscribers know me personally. Um, but just this shit where I've never met I've never met a woman who like didn't think she was the shit. I'm not even being funny. I've never met one because they prove to me consistently that they are full of themselves all the time. I'm not saying women. It's mostly, actually, you know what? I am going to say it's mostly a female condition where they're constantly full of themselves. Like I know exactly where it comes from too, because for example, we were at the gym one time in the rock climbing facility, and they said, "Here, jump over this thing." Like we were messing around in there, and the one girl did it, and then I did it. The same motion, like literally the same shit, right? And the third girl said, "Oh, she did it much more gracefully than you." And I said, "You're just a fucking feminist, bro. Just admit you're a feminist." Because, like, I've never had a woman compliment me on anything, especially when there's another woman in the vicinity. I've never. I've never. And I think this is almost exclusively a young women's problem, like 18 and up, because women who are older are much more nicer in general. Like, I feel like women hit a certain age, like generally, and they stop having this fucking attitude. Because I've had older women who are like, 30, 35, call me handsome, and they've been very nice to me. They go, "Oh, wow, you're doing a great job today." You know? The only time I've ever gotten a tip was from an older woman. I've never gotten a tip from a young woman. I've never gotten. Maybe this is my sign to date women who are like 27 and older. I don't know. That's a 6-year age gap here soon. That's not too bad. Maybe that's the fucking method here, bro. Maybe I just gotta date women who are in their like mid to late 20s. Because I had some women come in there. She was like 40 years old, bro, and she said, "Wow, what are you doing here?" I said, "Oh, I'm working." And she said, "You belong in a movie. You look like a young Brad Pitt," which I didn't agree with, but I really appreciate the compliment. I said, "Oh wow, thank you so much, miss. Maybe I will pursue that acting career now that you said that." Stuff like that. But like, I just feel like I said, the younger women are in America. I think it's probably only an American and European thing, like the West, um, where these women are so catty and fucking they're not pessimistic, but I swear to God, bro, they hate men. I swear a lot of these women just hate men and they won't admit it. They hate average men. There you go. They hate average, everyday, regular motherfuckers. They do. They just do. Like women, I swear to God. Here. How long is this video? Hold on. Here, we're gonna talk a little bit longer, and then we're probably gonna cut the video because I feel like the video is getting long. But I have this last bit to say. Women, a lot of women love fucking guys who spend a ton of money on them all the time. This, like, a lot of women are so fucking privileged and they've never had to work a day in their life. I'm being so for real. I'm getting fired up. I'm probably gonna go work out after this because I'm getting irritated. Um, they've probably never had to work a day in their life. But anyhow, um, this chick said if it costs less than $100, my parents will buy it for me. No questions asked. And she said if it costs more than $100, I go halves on it with my mom, and my boyfriend buys me all this shit too. Like women are so fucking spoiled, bro. Like this is what I'm talking about. If you see these women who are spoiled as fuck, they have very unattractive personalities, and they are not in good physical shape. Because this chick was, um, she's kind of chunky a little bit, and she was does no physical activity. Like she doesn't go to the gym. She doesn't do any of that shit. And because why would you? You have fucking servants essentially. You have parents that buy you whatever the fuck you want, and you have a boyfriend that buys you whatever the fuck you want. You don't have to spend any of your own fucking money. I give my money to charity because I know what it's like to be, digging in the fucking dirt essentially every day. I know a lot of people are struggling right now. So I give money to charity because of how bad it is. And yet the average woman is so fucking greedy anymore. They just want and want and want and want and want more. And it's like if you're a regular ass dude, you can't afford these women. Because like I said, I am fortunate enough to live in a house where my father has not yet started charging me rent. Um, he makes enough money to pay for all the bills himself. So everything that I want to do, I have to spend my money on. And I think this is a very fair deal, in all honesty. Like all the food I eat, I buy with my money. So everything that I eat, eggs, peanut butter, pepper jack cheese, hot dogs, all that stuff that I get from the store, I buy with my fucking money. So end up going to Walmart every week about spending $100, and the rest of it goes into my savings because you never know when you're gonna need this shit. But here's the thing: I don't blow my money on dumb stuff. I really don't think so. I have a little collection of things here and there, but this shit is so getting so ridiculous from these women because they just want more and more and more and more and more shit. Like, have you seen these women's like book collections? They're in like the hundreds of books in these book collections. They have fucking hundreds of plushies, right? And I might go give a lot of that shit away. I have a bin of plushies from my childhood. I will probably give those to charity at this rate because, or not charity, to Goodwill or the Salvation Army, something, dude. I don't want them anymore. I haven't wanted them in a long time, but I only just thought of them right now. Um, but yeah, I'm being so for real. You can't afford these women. Like my fucking friend told me that she went back with her ex partially because he was on track to have a six-figure job. What the fuck? Like that's a reason, really. Like I said, these women see you as a job half the time. They really do. They really see you as a job. And that's what I say. In America, you are your job. Your job is fucking everything. That's what irritates me about this place so bad. Is if you live in America, you know this already. Your job is everything that your job. Sorry. Everything that you can do is dependent upon your job. If you want to eat big dog food, like rich people shit, you got to make rich people money. If you want to travel, if you want to go on trips and cruises and stuff, you got to make big dog money. If you want to have a nice home gym, with like machines and stuff, you gotta have big dog money. You gotta make a fuck ton of money. If you want to date this girl who's pretty hot and she's not humble, you gotta have big dog money. I'm just fucking saying, bro. Like, your job is literally everything in America, and that's what people forget. Like, cause I have God. You know what I mean? I'm a very Christian guy, so I don't prioritize having money. I do work hard. I do my job. I do, take pleasure in having work. But the fact of the matter is, I don't work. I don't work because I love working. I work because I need to have money. Back in the day, you would work to survive. You'd go chop that tree down and harvest some firewood so you could cook your dinner on it and have warmth in the cold. But that's not a thing anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, the entirety of society is completely different than what it is when it began. And society is all manufactured at the end of the day anyway. I just don't know what I'm going to call this one. I think I'm going to cut it. I haven't eaten anything today. I was thinking about fasting until 5 o'clock. I haven't decided yet, but thanks for watching.